I am Voxner, xenobiological specialist of the Galactic Cataloging Initiative, and I still remember the day we detected Earth. A small blue-green planet orbiting an unremarkable yellow star in the spiral arm of what the locals call the Milky Way. Our preliminary scans indicated a nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere, nothing special. Yet something about this world puzzled our instruments. The biodiversity readings were off the charts, showing an evolutionary arms race unlike anything we'd encountered in centuries of exploration. "Curious place," remarked Commander Lathrix, her 6 eyes blinking in sequence as she studied the holographic display. "Send a stealth observation pod. Standard protocol." I assembled my team: Grath, our apex predator expert; Pelamar, atmospheric composition analyst; and Tuvix, cultural anthropologist. We deployed 3 observation modules to different hemispheres, settling into orbit beyond their primitive satellite detection systems. The first transmissions stunned us into silence. "Are you seeing this?" Grath's scales flushed blue with excitement. Their oceans contain creatures that would dominate apex hierarchies on 17 catalog worlds. On the view screen, enormous marine mammals dove into abyssal depths, holding breath for durations that defied our understanding of oxygen dependency. Massive sharks patrolled waters with sensory systems so refined they could detect electrical impulses from prey hiding beneath sediment. "Their terrestrial zones are equally fascinating," added Pelamar, rotating the display to show rainforests and savannas. "Look at these felines, perfect killing machines. Their stealth coefficients exceed military-grade cloaking on some Confederate worlds. Yet as fascinating as their natural predators were, something else caught my attention. Among all these fearsome creatures, moved bipedal species, seemingly fragile, with no claws, minimal body armor, and unremarkable physical attributes. Focus on these bipeds," I instructed. "They appear vulnerable, yet move with strange confidence." Tuvix enhanced the image, revealing settlements spreading across continents. They call themselves humans. Technologically advancing, but still primitive by Confederation standards. That evening cycle, we observed something that changed everything. A human settlement bordered a territory containing apex felines they called tigers. The inhabitants showed no fear, despite these predators being clearly capable of ending their existence with minimal effort. "This makes no sense," Grath muttered. "Why aren't they terrified? Those felines could tear through their dwellings easily." We continued watching as night fell. A tiger approached the settlement's edge, nostrils flaring. Yet instead of charging forward, it hesitated, then retreated into the foliage. "Replay that sequence," I commanded. "Enhance audio." The enhanced recording captured a sound barely perceptible to our instruments. A low, steady thrum emanating from the human settlement. "What is that?" asked Lathrix, joining our observation bay. "I believe," I said slowly, "it's machinery. They've created technologies that even their planet's most fearsome predators instinctively avoid." "Impossible," Grath scoffed. "Natural evolution creates a clear hierarchy. Apex predators don't simply surrender territory." But the evidence was undeniable. These seemingly fragile creatures had somehow risen above their world's natural order. "Increase surveillance," Lathrix ordered. "I want to understand exactly what we're dealing with here." None of us realized then that our discovery was merely the beginning. Earth wasn't just another cataloged world. It was something unprecedented, a planet where evolution had created a paradox. The most dangerous species was also the most vulnerable. 3 planetary rotations later, I found myself unable to sleep. The data from Earth kept revealing patterns that defied conventional xenobiological understanding. "You need to see this," Pelamar called through my quarters communication system. "We've got visual confirmation of human-predator interaction." In the observation bay, the team had gathered around footage showing a human settlement in a region they called India. A massive striped feline, one of their tigers, had wandered into the outskirts of the village. "By the void, that creature must weigh 300 kilograms, breathed Grath. "Its bite force could crush exo-armor." We watched, expecting carnage. Instead, the villagers emerged with strange implements, metal cylinders that produced explosive sounds. The tiger, despite its overwhelming physical advantage, retreated. "They've developed ranged weaponry," said Tuvix. "But that's not what's fascinating. Watch their body language. They're not terrified. They're annoyed." He was right. The humans moved with irritation, not panic, as though the apex predator was merely an inconvenience. "There's more," said Palomar, switching the display to another location, a vast expanse of ice and snow. This region they call Siberia. The footage showed humans actively pursuing massive brown ursines through deep snow. These creatures, bears in their language, could easily overturn ground transports with a single swipe, yet the humans tracked them deliberately. "Are they insane?" asked Grath. "Those creatures outweigh them 5 to 1. "No," I said slowly. "They're hunting them." The concept struck us all as absurd. In galactic taxonomy, species fit into distinct ecological roles. Prey did not hunt predators. It violated fundamental principles of survival. Commander Lathrix joined us, her exoskeleton clicking softly as she moved. "The Council is concerned. These observations suggest either unprecedented evolutionary development or what?" I asked. "Or we're missing something fundamental about this species." We continued watching as humans across the planet demonstrated similar behavior. In vast plains, they approached herds of horned herbivores taller than themselves. In dense jungles, they tracked venomous reptiles. In frozen wastelands, they hunted marine mammals 3 times their size. "I've completed analysis of their historical records," Tuvix announced. Their dominance didn't come through superior strength or natural weaponry. They simply outsmarted everything. "Impossible," Grath insisted. "Intellect doesn't overcome physical disadvantage so completely. Not in nature." "That's just it," I realized. "They've removed themselves from nature's rules. Look at this." I displayed footage of humans in a structure they called a zoo. Inside, creatures from across their world, predators that would dominate ecosystems on 1,000 worlds, paced in contained environments, while humans observed them casually. "They've imprisoned their world's apex predators," whispered Palomar. "For entertainment." "Not just imprisonment," corrected Tuvix. "They study them, preserve them even as they eliminate their habitats." That night, I updated our report to the Confederation with a classification I'd never used before: paradoxical apex. A species that had evolved beyond the need for natural defenses by creating artificial ones so effective that they now protected the very predators that once hunted them. "We need to understand their thinking," Commander Lathrix decided. "Prepare for direct observation. I want to know how these humans perceive themselves in relation to other species." As our stealth shuttle descended toward the planet's surface, I couldn't shake a growing realization. We weren't just studying another world's apex predator. We were about to meet something far more dangerous, a species that had transcended predation itself. Our observation pod touched down in a remote forest region they call Pacific Northwest. Dense conifers provided cover while allowing us to monitor a small human settlement nearby. We engaged full camouflage protocols, though after seeing how they treated their own predators, I was increasingly concerned about discovery. "Atmospheric composition confirmed safe for our biology," Palomar reported, "though their oxygen levels are intoxicatingly high." "Motion sensors detecting large fauna approaching," Grath said suddenly. "Ursine classification." Through the trees emerged one of their bears, a massive brown creature walking on 4 limbs, but capable of standing upright. Even Grath, who specialized in apex predators, tensed at the sight. "Magnificent," he whispered. "Look at those claws. The musculature. This creature could tear apart our shuttle if it wanted." The bear paused, sniffing the air. For a moment, I feared our camouflage had failed. Then a sound echoed through the forest. Human voices approaching. "Stay absolutely still," Commander Lathrix ordered. 2 humans appeared, a taller one and a smaller one. Parent and offspring, Tuvix indicated through our neural link. They carried small containers and seemed completely unconcerned about potential dangers. The bear noticed them. It rose to its full height, nearly 3 meters tall, and released a roar that vibrated our observation pod. "They're dead," muttered Grath. But the adult human merely pulled out a small cylindrical object from a pocket and pushed the offspring behind them. The bear charged forward several steps, then stopped abruptly as the human activated the device. A fine mist deployed from the cylinder. The bear recoiled, pawing at its snout in obvious distress, then turned and fled into the forest. "Chemical deterrent," explained Pellemar, analyzing the particles. "Non-lethal, but highly effective against olfactory organs." The humans continued their journey, the adult casually replacing the cylinder while explaining something to the child. "Did you see that?" I asked, incredulous. They weren't even frightened. The smaller one looked excited. "This changes everything," Commander Lathrix said quietly. "Their evolutionary path has created something unprecedented, a species of contradiction. Physically vulnerable, yet practically invulnerable." We continued our observations, documenting humans in various environments. In oceans, they descended to depths that would crush most species, protected by artificial shells. In mountains, they scaled vertical surfaces that would challenge even the most agile climbers of the Confederation. In deserts, they survived conditions that would desiccate most carbon-based life forms. "I've been analyzing their neural patterns," Tuvix reported one evening. "Their brains show something fascinating. They possess extraordinary fear responses, more sensitive than most species we've encountered." "That contradicts everything we've observed," objected Grath. "No, it explains it," I realized. "They feel fear more acutely than other species, which drove them to develop ways to eliminate its sources. So the most fearful became the most fearless," mused Commander Lathrix. That night, as the others rested, I ventured outside our pod, drawn by curiosity. I wanted to feel this world as the humans did, to understand what had shaped them. Standing beneath towering trees in the moonlight, I heard rustling in the undergrowth. Something was watching me, something large. I activated my emergency beacon, but remained still, heart chambers pounding. From the shadows emerged a creature the humans called cougar, a predatory feline with reflective eyes that locked onto mine. In that moment, I understood humanity in a way data could never show me. The absolute vulnerability of flesh, the knowledge of being prey, and the desperate, burning need to overcome that position. The cougar tends to leap, just as a bright light cut through the darkness, accompanied by a thunderous noise. The feline fled instantly. I turned to see a human standing there, holding one of their light-emitting devices and a noisemaker. "You shouldn't be out here at night," they said in their language. "Not without protection." As Tuvix pulled me back to safety through our emergency extraction protocol, I realized the human hadn't seemed surprised by my alien appearance. They had simply helped. Perhaps that was the most terrifying realization of all. "You broke every protocol," Commander Lathrix reprimanded me the following day. "Exposing yourself to a native? Do you understand the contamination risks?" "I apologize, Commander," I replied, but the encounter revealed something critical. The human didn't react with fear or aggression to my alien appearance. They simply helped. "That's impossible," Grath interjected. "No species ignores biological unfamiliarity so completely." Tuvix cleared his throat sacs. "Actually, my cultural analysis supports Voxner's observation. Humans possess extraordinary adaptability to the unknown. Their historical records show a pattern of initial fear, followed by rapid acceptance of novel concepts." Our discussion was interrupted by a security alert. Multiple human vehicles were approaching our location. "They found us," Pellemar whispered. Through our sensors, we watched as 7 humans in uniforms surrounded our camouflage pod. Their leader held a device that emitted regular pulses, some kind of detection equipment. "Impossible," muttered Grath. "Our technology is centuries beyond theirs." "Yet they found us," Commander Lathrix said grimly. "Options. We could activate emergency protocols and leave orbit," suggested Pellemar, "and report incomplete data to the Confederation." I objected. "We came to understand these beings. This is our chance." Before anyone could respond, a communication request pinged our systems. transmitted on frequencies we had believed beyond their technological capabilities. "They're hailing us," Tuvix said in disbelief. After a moment of hesitation, Commander Lathrix nodded. "Accept the transmission." A human face appeared on our communication display, a female with facial features suggesting authority and experience. "To the occupants of the cloaked vessel," she said clearly, "we've been aware of your presence for 72 hours. We mean you no harm and request peaceful contact." Stunned silence filled our pod. "How should we respond?" asked Pelamar. "I'll handle this," Commander Lathrix decided, activating our translation matrix. "This is Commander Lathrix of the Confederation Xenobiological Survey. We are a scientific expedition. May I ask how you detected our presence?" The human smiled, a gesture our cultural database identified as non-threatening. "Your energy signatures disturbed local wildlife patterns. Once we noticed the anomaly, finding you was simply a matter of tracking the disruption. I'm Director Colden of Earth's Extraterrestrial Contact Division." "Extraterrestrial Contact Division," repeated Grath incredulously. "They can't possibly have such an organization at their technological level." Director Colden continued, "We've been expecting contact for decades. Perhaps you'd be willing to meet under controlled conditions? We have facilities designed for interspecies dialogue." I exchanged glances with my team. The humans had not only detected us, but had prepared for extraterrestrial contact, despite having barely reached their own moon. "We accept," Commander Lathrix replied after consulting with us through our neural link. "Under peaceful terms." 6 hours later, we found ourselves in a remarkable structure built into a mountainside, a facility the humans had constructed specifically for first contact scenarios. The air was carefully filtered, the lighting adjusted to accommodate different visual spectrums, and the acoustic environment modulated to prevent auditory discomfort. "You've prepared extensively," I noted as Director Colden guided us through secure chambers. "Humanity has always looked to the stars," she replied. "We knew we weren't alone. It was just a matter of time." "But your technology," began Grath, "is developing rapidly," she finished. "What took other species centuries, we've accomplished in decades. Necessity drives innovation." "Necessity?" I questioned. Director Colden's expression changed subtly. "When you evolve on a world where everything wants to eat you, you learn to adapt quickly or perish. Humanity didn't become dominant through strength. We did it through problem-solving and cooperation." As we continued our tour, I realized the truth that our initial observations had only hinted at. Earth wasn't just a planet with dangerous predators. It was a forge that had created something far more formidable, a species that had turned vulnerability into their greatest strength. The Confederation Council chamber fell silent as I concluded my presentation. 300 representatives from across the galaxy had gathered to hear our findings about Earth. The holographic displays around me showed images of humans coexisting with their planet's deadliest creatures, sometimes controlling them, sometimes protecting them, always understanding them. "So your conclusion, Specialist Voxner," said High Counselor Dravix, "is that these humans should be classified as what exactly?" I took a breath before answering. "They defy our classification system, High Counselor. They are simultaneously the most vulnerable and most dangerous species on their planet. They lack natural weapons, yet have created artificial ones that could destroy their entire world. They fear predators, yet keep them as companions. They recognize their fragility, yet act with confidence that borders on recklessness." "Impossible contradictions," muttered Representative Zalmer of the Regellian Confederacy. "Yet the evidence is irrefutable," added Commander Lathrix, standing beside me. Our 3-month observation period confirmed every aspect of Specialist Voxner's assessment. I activated the final hologram, footage from our departure ceremony. The humans had hosted us for 14 days, sharing knowledge and establishing preliminary diplomatic protocols. Director Colden had even arranged for us to observe their wildlife preserves, areas where they deliberately maintained populations of predators that had once hunted their ancestors. "What truly distinguishes humans," I continued, "is not their technology or their dominance over other species. It's their perspective. They evolved not just to survive predators, but to understand them, to study what they feared. And in understanding, they transcended the predator-prey relationship entirely. Counselor Marivax of the Science Directorate leaned forward. Are you suggesting they should be considered for Confederation membership? A species that has barely achieved rudimentary space travel. I am suggesting, I replied carefully, that we reconsider our metrics for advancement. Humans develop something unique, empathy for predators. They protect species that once hunted them. They study creatures that could kill them instantly. They've created reserves for apex predators while simultaneously building technologies that make those predators functionally obsolete. The council chambers erupted in discussion. This wasn't merely about classifying a new species. It was about redefining our understanding of evolutionary paths. As the debate continued, I recalled my final conversation with Director Colden before our departure. You seem surprised that we care about preserving predators, she had said, as we watched a massive terrestrial reptile they called a crocodile from behind a transparent barrier. On most worlds, I explained, species eliminate competitors when they achieve dominance. She smiled, that uniquely human expression. That's the difference, Voxner. We don't see them as competitors anymore. We see them as teachers. Teachers. I had asked, confused. Everything we've accomplished came from understanding what could kill us. Medicine developed from studying venoms and toxins. Architecture from sheltering against environmental threats. Even our social structures evolved from the need to cooperate against common dangers. She gestured toward the crocodile. These ancient predators taught humanity its most important lesson, adaptability. Now, standing before the Confederation Council, I made my final recommendation. Earth should not merely be catalogued. It should be studied, not because humans have achieved some arbitrary technological threshold, but because they represent an evolutionary path we've never encountered, a species that transformed fear into curiosity and vulnerability into innovation. And what of the dangers? Asked High Counselor Dravix. A species with their contradictory nature might be unpredictable. With respect, High Counselor, I replied, predictability is precisely what humans transcended. Their greatest strength is their ability to change, to adapt, to reimagine their relationship with their environment. They don't eliminate threats. They understand them, incorporate them, and ultimately protect them. The Council voted unanimously to establish permanent diplomatic relations with Earth, the first pre-interstellar species ever granted such status. As I prepared to return as the Confederation's first ambassador, I reflected on what truly made humans exceptional. Not their tools or their dominance, but their unique perspective. On a planet where everything evolves to become a more efficient killer or a more elusive prey, humans evolved to become something else entirely. They became observers, students, caretakers, and in doing so, they achieved something no other species in our records had accomplished. They broke the endless cycle of predator and prey, creating instead a world where even apex predators found protection under the care of what had once been their prey. Earth wasn't just another world in our catalog. It was a glimpse of an evolutionary path none of us had imagined possible, where vulnerability became the foundation not of extinction, but of unprecedented advancement. The galaxy would never be the same.